first grade sport does play-doh. So we need a mixing bowl, plain flour, salt, vegetable oil and food colouring. I'm using green. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add half a cup of flour into the bowl. We're then going to add a quarter of a cup of salt into the mix. We're going to mix that around with our hands and it will look like that. Then carefully with 2 fingers we're going to put a hole in the middle, so we're going to make a little well. So we're going to separate a little area and that's where we're going to form our liquid later. Okay, next we are going to add a tablespoon of vegetable oil to a quarter of a cup of warm water, like so. Bit of an expert at the old vegetable pouring. We're then going to add our food colouring into the water. That's very important that we do that now rather than later, because otherwise it won't work. So about 6 or 7 drops. We then give that a stir. Okay, next we add about half of this into our well. And then with a fork or another measuring device we're going to tip the flour into the water and start to get the water and the flour, and you'll start to see some solid grains. Now it's important you don't add all of the water straight away because you'll make it too liquidy, even though this looks very, very powdery. Then, once we've done that, we're going to add a little bit more. And again, we start to pour the flour into that, flour and salt, and you'll see that more and more will start to form. It'll start to get harder. And harder. Add a final bit more. You probably won't need all of the water. So my final part, really starting to stir now, and we're about there. Okay, so now with our hands, we're going to get our hands in and start to scoop the mixture together. Start to clasp it in your hands. And really start to knit it together, squeeze, get all the flour in, and it should become more solid. It'll be quite white at first. Then you're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto the surface. Just a little touch. And this is going to be our kneading surface. So we're going to knead the dough. So squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Make it into a ball. And be careful not to use too much flour because we'll mess up the ratios. Be a bit granular. So to knead, we got our palm of our hand, we go in, 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 fold, backwards, then we fold across, we fold backwards, and we keep going until we've got a good amount of play-doh. Nice and soft. If you use cold water, it'll be a lot harder to do this, and in the end we'll end up with a nice ball of play-doh. Ta-da!